I will try to restart the video ninja thing. I guess that's the only thing I could think to do. No, I can hear myself. I just came back on. Did you see that? No, I can't hear you. Yeah, you're completely not there. I mean, I clicked a bunch of shit, but I mean, I just reversed it. You know, track one and two, I reversed them. I made you were on one and I was on two, and I made myself one and made you two, and now I work and you don't. I can't figure it out, man. All right, try talking now. I just nope. Mm, yeah, it's ludicrous. All the things that we did, I didn't make any changes to last time, so they're all the same. Your picture disappeared. No, there's nothing. Uh, this is insane. And what I don't understand is uh why does mine project out but not yours, and I can hear you. I understand it. I don't understand the buffering system that they use. Why that is. Sure. Hold on, I'm gonna get rid of one of the capture windows here. Thought maybe if I put a new version of you in, it might work. Go ahead, talk. Go ahead, talk.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing.
Okay, that's definitely worse. It's a huge delay, but I can hear you. But they can't hear you. All right, let's go through it. Can you hear yourself now? We'll keep talking. I didn't make any. But you can hear yourself through the video now? I didn't make any changes yet. The only thing I did is I added see. I don't. I wish I knew, Tony. Okay. The only thing I did was I set the monitoring to monitoring off. Try talking.
Test 1, 2, 3. Testing. The Grand Canyon is a great place to get lost and kidnapped by the government. So if you want to have a great time and never see your friends again, take a tour of the Grand Canyon, especially by yourself. Nothing.
Okay, so what is happening?
Now you cut out too.
What's going on now is I can't hear you. I can't hear you through the thing, but you can be heard on the video. So you can be heard on the video, but I can't hear you.
Okay, I'm on. My sound is working now.
And I can be heard on the video. I can hear myself on the video, and I can hear you on the video, but we can't hear.
It's working now.
Okay. Okay, that's fucking bullshit. So we can be heard on the video, but we can't hear each other.
I can hear you.
I know, but I can't hear you through my earphone. I can only hear you on the YouTube playing.
Oh, that's great. So you absolutely can't hear me. That's great. What? I mean, it went from.
Yeah, this is fucking bullshit.
Like I can hear you now, but before you, and you were cutting out before.
Right. I have to wait for it to go through the internet and then play on YouTube. So whatever that is, like a 20-second delay. And then I can hear what you said, but I can't hear you through OBS anymore. Um, right now we're both set to no monitoring. So it, um, it, it's weird. I wish there was a way to make it so that I could play the Video Ninja into our things, but um, there's no way for us to have a conversation with this sort of delay. And if I switch, so my plan is that I'm going to um, set you up with a second browser, and one is going to have. I'm going to shrink the picture down so that we can't see it, and so one will be monitoring you so I can hear what you're saying, and then one will be off so they can hear you. But essentially, I'll have you on there twice, and we're going to see if this works. Does that make sense? Okay. So, um, so I need to make a copy of you. There you go. Okay. Yeah, we'll just have you do the whole show. We'll just have you and you. I'll put it in your corner. Um, not that one. Um, where's that mixer? Go ahead and try talking. Okay. So what we need to do to see if it's working on um online. So you need to try to talk to see if you can hear yourself. I just made one change. I had to turn on the monitor, and I just did it. It's enough.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing. Testing 1, 2, 3. So, what about them bears?
I just switched them. Hello? It- Well, 35 minutes. Um, but you can hear me, and you're sure that it's playing on the video now. Okay. Okay. So what? I switched it when you told me to. So go back. Yeah, but there's a huge delay. It's like 20 seconds. All right, I just did it. Oh, I'm sure he's long gone. But we have to. See. Let's give it a few. You have to make sure that it's caught up to you. Um, how about now? I don't get it either. It's ungettable. Okay, I'm going to. So there's no audio right now. Hmm. Okay. I mean, why? Can you hear yourself? Ugh.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing. This is absolutely bonkers. We can't put this thing up there. You have to delete all these ones with all these missing time stuff on it. Yeah, now it's working. Yeah, it's working, Mike. Now you talk. Yeah, I can hear you. Now if I can see you on the video or hear you on the video, it'd be great. Um, no, no, you're you're cut out. You're cut out. Nope. Yeah, there's nothing going on. Just me. Can you add a track 3? Okay. Correct. So something about the 2 and the way it's monitored is throwing everything off.
Okay, I'm putting myself on 1 too. Tell me if you can hear me.
Okay, well,
I'm gonna do the same thing for myself.
okay, now when you put yourself on 1, it works, Mike, and I can hear me also on the video online.
So we're both on. Okay, so currently we're on. All of us are on 1. Nobody's on 2. All of us are on 3, 4, 5, and
Okay.
6.
Okay, well there it's working now for whatever reason.
Okay, I'm going to delete all of 3, and we're just going to keep talking, and you tell me. I'm going to do it, and then we're going to wait until it catches up. So I'm executing the removal of channel 3, and we're still talking to see what happens if you can hear me after I remove channel 3.
Okay.
So it's been removed, and
Okay,
if
it's been removed.
and if it cuts
You go ahead.
If it cuts out, then and you have to monitor yourself because I'm removing you as well on 3. So right now we're on 1. All of us are on 1. All of us are on 4. All of us are on 5, and all of us are on 6. Can you now talk?
Okay. Check 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay.
And you can still hear me, and you can still hear yourself.
Wait a second. Wait a second. Okay, what you want to do is, can you shut some of them off? How about it's screwing up the bandwidth. So
But can you hear me?
okay, what I'm listening to is 2 things simultaneously, Mike. You just got to calm down. Wait a second. All right. I shut off the video. Now that you have all those things playing at once, it's screwing up the bandwidth. So we're gonna have to limit the number.
That's what I'm trying to do. But
Okay.
I'm trying. I don't want to turn them all off at once, and then us not know which one is actually working. So I'm removing them in series. So right now you could hear me and you could hear yourself. Correct?
That is correct. Now,
Okay.
but it's really distorted and delayed because it's the bandwidth issue. For me, not you.
Okay. I'm going to remove now all the 4 tracks. Track 4 has been removed.
Okay, let's test it again then.
So we're just trying to confirm whether you can hear me and you can hear yourself on YouTube. Can't believe that we spent each. I like hanging out with you.
Not under these conditions. I mean, we're like frustrated there.
It's insane.
Okay, it's working.
Okay, I'm going to remove 5. So 5 has been completely removed on all the channels.
Okay, testing 1, 2, 3, testing.
So it's looking more and more like 2 is bad.
Testing 1, 2, 3, testing. Okay,
Can you?
I'm waiting for 5 now. I'm waiting.
Hi.
Okay, testing 1, 2, 3, testing. Check.
Check. Your mom is funny looking.
Okay, let's see what that happens. Okay, now can you shut one more off?
This is the last one. This will be all of them except for 1. So if you can hear me,
I can.
I just removed 6 and 6. So now the only track that is being used is track 1 for you and I.
Okay, testing 1, 2, 3, testing. Check. Serendipity 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I'm still here, so if you can hear me on YouTube, this is track 1.
Okay, let's wait. Okay, it's working. There's still is some sort of, like Hall effect or some sort of distortion, but it's much better. You're perfectly clear. I have distortion. It might be a bandwidth issue with my computer or whatever.
It's probably because we have it. There's 2 versions of you.
Okay, what I'm going to do is reload my feed and
no,
select.
Let's just try let me try something first before you do that. Go ahead and talk.
Testing 1, 2, 3, testing. The rain in Spain falls mainly in the plain. To be or not to be? That is the question.
Try talking again.
Testing 1 2 3. Testing check 1 2 3.
Is the Hall effect less?
Okay, let's see.
It
I'm waiting. I'm waiting. Okay, it's everything is running much better.
okay. And you sound loud on the YouTube.
Yes, and so do you.
Okay. And so what I've had to do is you're up twice, your browser 2 and browser 1 now, and 1 is just monitoring it for me. And what you're hearing is actually that there's 2 channels of you playing. So the one that I'm listening to, I turned way down. So you're like, I can barely hear you, but I can hear you.
Okay.
But you're like at 5% volume, and the other one's regular. So that's what we're doing. Obviously, this isn't ideal, but yeah. So we're just gonna pick it up after. So we watched that video and we started getting off on sidetrack, but we're just gonna jump back into segment 1, which is what happened in 1909 with GE Kincaid. I'll let you do the talking on this one since you have your opinions.
Okay, well, with G.E. Kincaid, he's discovered supposedly this is what an ancient Egyptian style city in the Grand Canyon, and it had supposedly a central room with multiple hallways that spiraled, not really spiraled off, but went off like a spider from the central room, with and allegedly had enough space in there for 40,000 people. And in the central room, one of the rooms had mummies all about, and the ones on the lower levels were older, and the higher they went, the mummies were more ornate and better kept up, so that they were obviously the newer ones, according to he called it a citadel, which is basically a fortress for a military fortress. And since there was only male mummies in there, he assumed that it was some place for a war. And the mummies were large; they were 7 feet tall, and there was bunches of them up there, and so many that it made you feel like there was a rather large society. Of course, most people back then called it yellow journalism. Otherwise, it was just a fantasy story meant to sell papers. But of course, then again, the Smithsonian was involved, and every time the Smithsonian's involved, things disappear, and it becomes a rumor or a myth after they show up. So either they're the great debunkers or they're the great cover-uppers. We're not sure.
Well, I was watching a video about the Smithsonian, and so very recently there was legislation where all of the grave robbery had to be returned to the indigenous people from all the museums in the United States, meaning that if it was a dig that they violated, let's say, Native Americans' burial rights, they had to ask if they could keep it, otherwise they had to return it to the people. And so there's thousands of museums that were affected by this, but only one had a carve out for all of this stuff, no matter what it was, the Smithsonian. So all the other museums in the world or in the United States had to honor this new law, with the exception of the Smithsonian, which had a blanket that it didn't have to tell anybody about anything. It didn't have to disclose what they, and that's the other thing, is they had to disclose what they had in their archives, no matter what it was. They had to have a forensic accounting by a third party. The only one that didn't have to do that was the Smithsonian.
And by the way, the Smithsonian is out of England, even though it's situated in the United States. It was, like Lord Smithson from the Great Britain who founded it. And so it's basically, it's more like an international museum between Great Britain and the United States. Even though it's in our capital, which I visited several times. Matter of fact, our father had a display in there for a while. The lunar rover, he did the charging system and everything on it, and he's one of the people that put it in there. It was, in the 60s and 70s. It's since been taken down and is somewhere in the bowels of the Smithsonian there. And so it has the biggest diamond in the world there. It has, so the stuff in there is priceless, but it's treated sort of like an international city that doesn't have any, no one has any rights over it. It's treated like DC or the Vatican or the city of London. It's sort of, because it's within DC anyway, so it's outside of the United States of America. It's inside the US, which is a separate corporate entity. So it's under government control.
Well, what's also interesting about this region is supposedly around the same time is the Hopi Indians, because they lived in that area. They consider the Grand Canyon sacred, and supposedly they emerged from a underground city about a few thousand years ago, and they lived with ant people and giants. And the ant people basically protected them, and the Hopi Indians were their laborers. It's interesting, again, that, and they came out, they were protected from a flood, and they emerged after the flood destroyed the underground thing that they were living in. So
Yeah, the ant people saved them. The ant people supposedly, according to the myth, they were sky people, and they had like golden skin and large eyes.
and so
From what?
there is a group of aliens that they refer to as the mantis people, and the mantis people have large eyes and golden skin.
They could have just got that myth from the Hopi Indians.
Possibly, but that's actually not a very well known thing. But the one and the mantis people are considered the most powerful of the alien races. They're considered to be the smartest and the most technologically advanced, and they're considered benevolent.
Which would go with being the smartest. That's just how. If you're much
It's
smarter than
so it's
everyone else, there's
interesting.
no reason to be aggressive. If you're, it's like picking on your cat, your dog. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Right. Well, I hear that they can be aggressive if you fuck with them, and they are absolutely lethal, but they're not naturally violent. Or maybe that they're civilized enough that they don't resort to violence often. But they are a bug. Uh, I mean, if they're truly an arachnid of some kind or similar to that, and they have an external skeleton, the mechanical advantage that they would have in strength could be tremendous.
As you go up in size and scale with the exoskeleton, because of the laws of physics, because your surface area goes up by the square and your mass goes up by the cube, you eventually run out of integrity. So they'd have to be not very large people.
I hear they're huge. Like they're like xenomorphs.
Well, the Hopi said they were small.
Well, the I don't know, but the mantis people are big, like 7 feet tall.
The
I don't know if that means that they're thick, but I know that they're tall. And the encounters that I'm referring to are only in space, not on Earth.
well, yeah, in space it would actually be an advantage because there's no gravity to overcome. They could come from a lighter planet or something, or they could be
Well, and
water beings, where they're
possibly
supported.
a
Or
smaller planet.
thicker
So
atmosphere too helps bugs. So
one of the interesting things is Elon Musk said this. He said that if a planet is 16% more massive than Earth, it is, at least with rocketry, would be impossible to get to space. He says that we would never have gotten to space if our planet was just 16% more massive because of the overcoming gravity would become impossible with rockets.
yeah,
And
because the
so,
mass, the accelerate, you couldn't accelerate the mass enough.
right,
You wouldn't have enough fuel to accelerate that mass.
exactly. And so we're at almost the maximum size for a planet to do that. So a planet like Mars, or something, maybe in between Mars and Earth, is more optimal for developing space-based people.
But
And what's interesting
suboptimal
is all this.
optimal for oceans and atmosphere. So the chances of life existing on those lighter planets. So it looks like it's a very narrow window for life in interstellar travel. It's like
I'm sure it is.
almost as if God went, well, I'm going to pick out the perfect planet size for you.
Well, there is, so one of the moons of
Jupiter.
or Saturn. I don't know which one it was, but there's one that is has been earmarked as possible for having a liquid ocean, and it's the same size as Mars, and its atmosphere, even though it's got a very low gravity, is extremely thick because I don't know why, but it has it's something that but it has an extremely thick atmosphere. But it's a moon. It's uh it's between the size of our moon and Mars. This I think it might be Jupiter, but um it could be it must be Jupiter. I think it's Jupiter because I remember it saying that part of the reason why they think it has a liquid ocean and a frozen surface is because the gravity works as friction on the core of the moon, and it keeps it it's basically molten lava all the time because of the friction from the
The
gravity.
tidal, it's the tidal forces of especially if it's not tidally locked like our moon is. If it's still spinning, the amount of
I think it is still spinning,
yeah,
but
because
it's
our moon is tidal
interesting.
locked. It doesn't change because one side's heavier than the other.
Right.
So it just
Well, and it's basically it's like half ocean with a solid iron core, but it's actually a lot of ice, and then it's got like, I don't know, like 100 miles of ice, and then a liquid core, and then a
I know that
volcano.
has water, and they suspect that there's life in that water,
Right.
and that is just from the heat from the geothermal heat from the tidal effects of the core being friction from the core spinning.
But what I do think is interesting, though, and it's the more we study this stuff, the more it appears that these myths that and whether it's these Hopi Indians or the Babylonians, there is a reoccurring theme of giants, and uh, even in Egypt, if you look at some of the Egyptian gods, they're not they're bugs and they're weird. They're crocodiles, which we could argue are reptilians and
Or
ant
you could be
people.
biblical and call them chimera, because the earth was condemned for them combining genetics from other animals to humans, and supposedly.
In Egypt, the ones that they're showing as they're the ones that are the combiners. They're the top tier people. I don't know if I'm not saying they didn't make chimeras afterwards, but uh, it seems that the Egyptian sky people didn't all look human. So, um, and one of the things that has also come out about this area in the is that it's filled with thermal voids inside the Grand Canyon. It's basically the whole thing is hollow.
Well, it has somewhere around 2,000 caves in the Grand Canyon.
Right, and only a small percentage of them have
50.
been investigated by people.
50 have been partially mapped out of the 2,000.
That's an
And they say
extraordinary
they're
low amount.
to protect us. They're not letting us in there. Like, who the hell are they? Don't we own them?
Right, and what are they protecting us from? I've heard that there's uranium mines and shit like that, but that never stops anybody from that. We let people go into Chernobyl. I mean, fucking Russia lets people, go in there, and there's just a lot of weird things. And this isn't the only. I mean, this is a pretty good example of one of these places, but almost all of the state parks are like this. That there's a very all of the state parks are cordoned off, and you can go to a small fraction of it, and the rest of it is off limits. Why do you think that is? I think it's for the same reason this place is. There's something there.
Well, it could be that, and it could be they're just protecting. They could be protecting assets. They could be protecting artifacts. They say it's because they're trying to, make sure there's biodiversity, so only lefties can hang out there. That's a bunch of crap. That our Uncle Wally was always mad at that. That the environmental people got to hang out in environmental areas, and regular people couldn't go there. And the communists got to frolic in the nicest parts of the world, which was
and they're not, and generally speaking, based on how the world is at least now, all of the robber barons of the world are Democrats, and so the lefties are the ones that are most likely to strip mine a place or whatever. It's not. I mean, Amazon wants to burn down all the forests and boil the sea so it can have data centers. I mean, I've heard that if they build all all these data centers, that it's going to boil the ocean.
Why?
Because I don't believe it. Because all the extra heat from all the data centers is going to turn us into Mars or Venus. I mean, I don't necessarily believe that, but
Of course not. If you believe that, you're an idiot. I mean, that's stupid.
That's what
people would stop it before that happened. They would go, "Look, let's continue to heat up the atmosphere and let's blow up our planet because we want AI to work better." No, that would never happen because someone would come by and blow the MFR up.
Well, I don't know. People are pretty fucking lazy. I mean, the AI thing is like, it seems unstoppable, but that's a thing we can talk about.
It's not unstoppable. It's stoppable. People just unplug it.
No, I mean they're in love with it. The elites are in love with it and are pushing
They're
it
in
hard.
love with raping people too, but that can
nobody
be stopped.
Stops them.
We'll see about that.
I want them stopped, but no one is. So going to your point, though, it's basically from the 1940s onward, the Grand Canyon has been quietly federalized piece by piece, and now there's military flyovers. Obviously, there's about 80% of it you can't even go to. certain cliffs and caves suddenly are off limits under environmental protection clauses. Um, and if you don't check your FAA map, some of the same spot lines with radars interfere with um, abnormalities. I don't even know what that meant, but
No, it's it's vague enough to just make you wonder. That way, you fill in the blanks, and it says whatever you want it to say. That's what's good about general, glittering
that's anytime.
generalities.
Yeah. So why does a tourist park need black budget aerospace?
I don't know, but they got black aircraft flying all over it, and I've seen
I
video
mean,
of it. So
I've
I
seen
don't
videos where
I don't know
people.
what they're doing. I've been out to those areas. I've been out to New Mexico, and and it's just absolutely barren. I mean, there's nothing out there, and as soon as the sun goes down, there's deer and wolves and everything running all over the friggin' place. I don't know what they eat. It's barren, but they're there. We're not talking about little white-tailed deer. We're talking about muleys, gigantic freaking deer the size of elk, and it's just really weird. And there's millions of bats. Like, what are the bats eating out there? What are the insects eating? Look at it.
Oh,
The
I
reason
know.
that
I actually find the place fascinating, and I never had an interest in it actually until we started doing this. But there is a massive um, federal presence there. The U.S. There's basically the U.S. Geological Survey employees out there full time. We're constantly doing satellite surveillance of the area. Uh, there is infrared drones always being flown around out there, basically since 2015. Um, uh, there's a big park maintenance employee, population out there, and yeah, again, we can't go out there. There and
it's huge. I mean, the size of it's overwhelming. They couldn't actually monitor the whole thing, but still, it's
well, that's why
it,
they're doing the drones and stuff. We're not talking about like the drones that I would fly with my little drone, photography stuff. They're flying the military grade drones out there full time. At least
well,
that's what.
from what I hear, there's tons of minerals, including gold, copper, silver, rare earth minerals, all in that, and they're all exposed. So it's no one seems to be digging it up. But one of the philosophies that our father explained to us in the government, the neocon government in general had is we're not going to use up our resources. We're going to buy everyone else's and use them up, and then when they're all out, we'll have it still. And so the United States is still doing that. We have more resources than anyone. We don't go after them.
We're letting ourselves go bankrupt though. So we're gonna
Well, if you
not.
go bankrupt, then the bank can come in and buy our assets for 10 cents on the dollar.
So this is all about giving it to the Bank of England.
Correct.
But the American people don't get to use it. It's all going to go to Russia when we get wiped out, and China. That makes perfect sense.
Well,
A government you can believe
that's
in.
the main reason they're after Trump. Is I'll give you an example. This is the cities, they claim they're bankrupt. But what they do is whenever they buy an asset, they consider that an expense. They're buying a fucking asset. They're buying a building, they're buying a park, they're buying a river, they're buying a reservoir, and they're saying it's a loss. So on the books, it looks like they own nothing and they have nothing but expenses. But in reality, they actually own 51% of the stock market and a large portion of the best land in any county. And it's not considered part of their wealth. So what's happening is that since they have phony accounting, it looks like they're bankrupt. And then when they go bankrupt, they go into foreclosure, and then they have a receiver, and then this receiver sells their assets, which are worth 1,000 times as much as they're listed at. So a bank comes in and swoops in and takes the assets, whether it be, for example, a port or a reservoir or buildings or whatever. All those is considered losses on the government sheets. And one accountant went and
The Grand
found,
Canyon.
or the fucking Grand Canyon. Yes.
I mean, and so I guess
Do you
that's
know that
part of what they're doing.
Arizona, Nevada, New Mexico is owned, 90% of it is owned by the federal government. The reason you have no rights on the Grand Canyon, it's not part of the United States of America. It's a U.S. property. It's like a military base. It's actually owned by the U.S. proper, Congress. And the biggest problem we had with Barack Obama is he was buying more and more land and putting it under the U.S. and taking it out of the hands of the USA, which is owned by the people. And the U.S. was in debt to the Bank of England, which they're not anymore, by the way, and that's why they're coming after us. And that's why the royal family and everything else is kissing our butt, because we no longer owe them money. That happened in 2000. That's why Trump was treated different than the other presidents. He was a yeah. It switched over in 2000, and then immediately after that we had the the attacks. And put our whole world in chaos, trying to get us to go into debt again. And that's what all these wars are. Yeah. If we go into debt and borrow from the Bank of England again, then they own our assets. And it's not like that. That's why the United States is dominating everything, and Trump can go in and tell people what to do because he doesn't owe anybody any money. Since the Revolutionary War, we owed the Bank of England and the House of Orange, which is part of the same family that owns the Bank of England, which is the Dutch. We owed them money, and we weren't paying it. And the reason we had the Civil War is the South refused to pay the Bank of England the interest payments.
Well, fascinating.
So that's why they treat the Grand Canyon like it's their asset, because it is. It's a military base.
Well,
and what's in there? I don't know. And we're never gonna get a chance to look at it because it's treated like Area 51.
Because it's weirder than so. On that note, another interesting thing that I had never heard of is that it's not just that it's got extremely rare geology. It's also a electromagnetic like force field. It's extremely electromagnetically charged because it has a massive crystal formation underneath it.
Yeah, they're saying that for some reason it has lots of iron too, which causes, and it's magnetic iron, and those crystals and all that stuff probably focuses everything.
Yes,
I'm not sure how that works, but basically what happens is when they're flying over with aircraft that they have problems with their instruments going through there. So
there's actually I was going to put them in a video, but I couldn't find enough good ones. There's like only one or two. There's actually these caves that they show people like miners in, and the quartz crystals are like 50 feet long, and the people
I've seen those,
and they're like stacked like in a big cave, like they make, and then people are just standing in there inside.
Yeah, but it's 130 degrees in that because it's so deep. It's like in South America someplace, and it's those.
No,
crystals.
What I'm saying is they're there. They're in. I know. I'm not talking about that wherever you're talking about. I'm saying that these huge quartz crystals are inside, and that's part of the reason why I don't know if that's why planes can't fly over it, but that is what causes the tremendous electromagnetic field over the Grand Canyon. And of course there is like they call it the Sedona vortex lines that intersect the canyon coordinates, and the Hopi Indians said that they used to use them spiritually, like so I don't know how you use vortex lines, but I assume it's kind of on par with magic. It's something that I'm going to have to, because again, I really had never looked into the Grand Canyon before today or yesterday. It's a hotbed for UFOs. Like that, there's UFOs fly in there and they like literally disappear, and like like they're going into some sort of vortex or portal.
Well, I'd like to visit it someday. Take a mule around it in this tiny little area that they'll let you look at. I mean, it's massive. It's a mile deep and 25 miles wide or something. I mean, you could actually get lost in it and never find your way out. I mean, it's like crazy. So I guess you could just follow the river to its source and get out eventually, but that's a long ways to walk.
I'm going to look at the Gmail I sent you real quick. Not that one. No.
Okay, then. Let's try this one.
So,
you want to do the underground city of giants discovered in the Grand Canyon?
I'm trying to find the very. No, not that one. Not that one. Jesus, did I not include it? I might not have. I don't know what to tell you. Send it to you. I'm going to try to find it real quick. I think I saved it on YouTube. There's one where a guy was talking on Joe Rogan. I want to send you that one. It's a guy who does a podcast on all sorts of weird stuff, and he does a little blurb bit about the Grand Canyon. I thought it was kind of interesting. He talks about the military presence there.
Mm-hmm. Kincaid developed an insatiable curiosity for the unknown. That's the rumor, anyways.
Okay, I'm sending it to you now. If I can spell link, that is. Okay, this one was interesting. It's only 90 seconds. But it will test it, make sure probably it's gonna wreck our audio or some fucking shit. I shouldn't even try to send anything. We should just use smoke signals and shadow puppets.
Okay, let's see what we can do with that. He's looking for shadow puppets. Shadow puppets. We'll just have to sign,
The sign is don't watch. It's too stupid.
Gold deposits or whatever. This is just before Teddy Roosevelt made the Grand Canyon a preserve. He was a naturalist. So he finds these steps that are clearly man-made. He follows the steps up and there's a cave and he goes in there and he describes hieroglyphics that look Egyptian but are not quite. He finds a statue that he describes as like Buddha-like, not Egyptian, not human, but sort of like Buddha. And all these weapons, shields, gold, all sorts of stuff. He keeps going. He finds a deserted city in the caves and all these tunnels and caverns go everywhere and he's trying to map everything. He comes out and he goes back to town and he gathers together a group that we're going to go find the stuff again. And people are excited about it. And a couple of weeks go by and everyone's gathered to go on the expedition. He never shows. The expedition goes nowhere. And that's really the last we've heard of it.
Well, the great part of the story is the fact that you actually can't go there. And the idea that there's an area where the military is protecting people from being foolish, that doesn't make any sense.
Nobody asks why.
Right.
Like, nobody asks why. It really bothers me about that story and all of these, whether it's disclosure or whatever. I don't hear anyone asking why. Well, they won't let us. Well, who's they?
Right.
Someone's in charge of stuff that's not the president
Right.
or Congress. So who is it? G.E. Kincaid, and he's going down.
Anyways, that's it. But I think that's a very valid question, and it's the same question we were asking. The who and the they. Who are they? This they, who are they?
They say it's, they, the great they.
And it's a valid point also that Trump's not making this decision. Bush didn't make these decisions. These decisions were made over 100 years ago, and people don't defy them.
Well, if it's he's worrying about like Antifa and things like that right now. But I'm sure after Antifa's sorted out and the Middle East is and Ukraine's taken care of, maybe he can turn his jaundiced eye to the Grand Canyon next.
Why are you saying jaundice?
Because he's seen it all. And if the eye of Sauron turns to the Grand Canyon, it'll be resolved.
Well,
you notice whenever you ever notice when his attention gets put on something, then it's over with. You just don't want him to notice. They want him not to notice the Grand Canyon, basically.
Well, the only exception to that was in New Jersey. They were having all these flyovers, and he said, "Oh yeah, we'll get to the bottom of that. And we'll tell you what it is." And then he got back to us and said, "Oh, I can't tell you."
He said he said it was the military.
He
didn't. Yeah, and he said he can't tell you what they were doing. He said they were looking for something. And I'm not going to tell you what it was. That's basically what he said. What people did say about it is that they were drones that were looking for radioactive stuff, because remember they had a bomb go missing.
I heard all that, but I also heard that the drones were up 80, 90,000 feet, and that our propeller drones can't go that high.
So someone said that to you, and you believed it?
No, I actually seen Alex Jones say that.
Oh, whatever he says is always true. Just like he was right about Sandy Hook, and now he can't tell the truth about it. So he's
he was the first one saying that he didn't think that the guy that is being blamed for the shooting of Charlie Kirk is actually the person that did it, and he thinks it was somebody else, and he thinks it was he said that he was one of the first people that said you get shot in the neck with a 30-06, it doesn't leave a little tiny hole. He says he was talking about that you shoot a bison with it and it blows a hole this big out the backside.
Well, I've hunted with them, and I've cleaned animals that were killed by a 30-06 at 100-yard range. It is god awful.
Right, and again, it's not a little tiny. They don't.
They
didn't scoop up his head.
It's that big.
And
a hunting ground with a hollow point that's designed to mushroom when it's coming, because 30-06 doesn't come in at 2,800 feet per second. It comes in at 3,300 feet per second. It's faster than a 5.56, and it weighs 5 times as much. I mean, it doesn't weigh 55 grams. It weighs 200 or something ridiculous, 130. It's a big bullet. So it mushrooms on impact, and it's going supersonic times 2.
But my point is he said he was the one saying that he had somebody come on and said that there are military drones up there, but they're not all military drones. That there's something else going on there, and this guy implied that the drones were there to cover up the fact that there was something else going on, to confuse it. I don't know. I never
don't know what it is. There's rumors going around. There's a radioactive leak. There's rumors that they were sending drones to spy on Trump. There's rumors that it was UFOs. There's rumor that China had a ship offshore, and they were just coming on shore to bother us for no reason. I mean, it's like the Charlie Kirk mystery. None of the explanations we've gotten are credible.
Right.
Other than his microphone blew up. Everything else looks like there's no. They say, well, it came in from the top and the back. No, it didn't. There's no bullet mark that went through there. They said, well, he was shot by a BB, air pistol. Bullshit. His neck blew out like this. Like something exploded inside of it.
Right. And you know, it's about as credible as all this stuff about the Grand Canyon. None of it actually makes a lick of sense. I hate to say it. The thing that makes the
When the
most
military's
sense.
involved, I'll be honest, because I was in the military. Whatever story they're telling the public, they do two things. They give you some sort of credible thing that isn't true, and then they go and deny it. So you sit there and fight over an idea that isn't even true. It's not the real truth, in other words. It's a partial truth. And then you get, oh, well, this has to be true because they're trying to cover it up. They're genius at it. The military knows how to bullshit people better than anybody. So if they're involved, you're not going to know. You're just not going to know. They're going to tell you so many conflicting stories, and they're going to pretend they're covering up the truth when they're really covering up a lie. It's genius. You can't figure it out. And I think it's wonderful, and I want to go look at it. And I would love to get like 100 people to go explore it and have it, see if they could arrest everyone. That'd be cool. What are you going to arrest you for?
I want to get arrested.
They would actually have to. Well, as long as there's no.
Look at how nice this underground base that you're never leaving is.
Or I don't want to be anal probed, and by aliens, golden skinned aliens. I'd like to, not do that.
They're not anal probing you. They're soul probing you.
They're going to be bitterly disappointed in me.
Oh, this one's empty.
This guy doesn't care. He thinks this realm is worthless. So you can't torture someone who's given up, can you?
I don't know. I mean, they might be the most fun to talk to. But okay. So, what I also found interesting about the Grand Canyon was that all of the peaks and all of the interesting, I guess, we'll call them artifacts, but landmarks are all named after Egyptian gods.
Yes, they are. Okay, can I show you this thing? The center of this supposed citadel that was carved into the side of the Grand
If you
Canyon.
can, yeah, absolutely.
I'll give you the pictures that they have of it. This is maybe this is an artist. I'm sure it's an artist rendition of what they.
Obviously.
I don't think anybody has the true pictures. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the picture. That's supposedly what he saw when in the center that they were worshiping was a Buddha. But also, there was Egyptian mummies in there, like that, on the walls. And here's an example of what the walls look like, according to the descriptions in the book. And they're all males. That's why he called it a citadel, because he thought it was a military base.
It's fascinating to me. Whatever this is, the whole thing from top to bottom, the construction of, or the geological process that created the Grand Canyon is suspect. The mainstream story of it, all of the things that happened in the early 1800s to the 1900s, the exploration of it, this kind of thing, and then all the modern stuff, the fact that there's 2,000 caves that hasn't been explored, that there's all of this mineral wealth there that we don't go after. Several groups of American Indians consider this to be a holy place. They talk about underground citadels and weird beings living there, and from giants. And I think that these stories, no matter where you go in the world, you go far enough back in time, the stories all pop up to be the same. The same thing is said about Egypt. Underneath the Great Pyramids is a hollow area, a citadel, the whole same thing, the whole exact same thing. And then that was Egypt. I mean, there were mummies there too. And so this repeating pattern of, you know, and I've heard the same thing now about South America, that underneath all of the pyramids in South America, that what we're seeing is just the top, that whole thing is a plateau again, and that it's actually much deeper, and if you were to dig underneath, it's hollow. And again, the same thing is said about the White House, that there is multiple floors that were that the real main entrance is buried, and there are pictures of it where it's been partially digged up, and you like from the 1800s, and you can actually see that they're not lying. That there's a hole underneath the White House foundation, or not the Capitol building. I mean, the Capitol building.
Mhm.
Underneath the Capitol building, there's another set of columns. Why would they build columns and then fill it in?
Mm-hmm.
It's just weird that there is this reoccurring thing. Of giants and these, you know, whether you call these bug people aliens or chimera or whatever they are, they're not. They reoccur in a lot of different cultures. The Aboriginal people have in Australia have bug people
And
They-
giants
and giants. It's
and redheads running around there. They said that they had redheads in New Zealand and in Australia. And they readily admit that that's who was there, and they were there before them. That's what they said. That they're not the Aboriginals, that they're just migrants.
right. It's interesting. How little we really we supposedly have this, you know, grand a history that we figured out, and we've spent a lot of money on it, and it doesn't seem like very much of it is true, or at least the whole truth.
Well, that what was it? The thing that I was just that I just clicked on. Below it, it had a Tucker Carlson interview where he was talking about that our history is absolutely false. And like the Tataric Empire and the how Eastern Europe actually was, and how all the lies about it, and that and I know nothing about Eastern Europe.
The
And it was great.
Tartarian Empire, you mean?
Yeah, they were basically Bulgarians. They call them there's a type of people. They're like Anatolian, Turkic Anatolians, and they were the main race that made up the Tatarian Empire, and they also had factions that were what we call the Tatars, but were actually the you know, Genghis Khan and Genghis Khan and all the Khans there. What were they called?
Mongolians.
The Mongolians, yes. Those are the two. They were two separate races. They sort of combined the Tartars with them, the Tartars with the Tataric Empire, and all that stuff going on there is so complicated. The Bulgarians, the Persians, you know, it goes to the Scandinavians there. That's why they get the blonde Russians and the Slavics. Just like they say, the Ashkenazi Jews are Slavic and Tatarian, and they're not what we would call Semitic. They're not Arabic.
Right. Yeah.
And that's why they do not let Israelis take blood tests to see if they're you know, Semitic. Because then they use this thing anti-Semitic, and they're 90% of them aren't Semitic. So if we say something bad about Netanyahu, it's anti-Semitic. The only people that are anti-Semitic in Israel are the Israelis themselves attacking the Semitic people right next to them, who are Arabs. So it's a bunch of garbage. They're all, both sides are lying. It's like it's and the people in Palestine they just moved in there. They didn't live there.
Yeah, they moved in there in the 30s.
Yes, so this is all nonsense.
And you
There's a bunch
know who actually started moving the Jews in to Palestine and started transforming it into Israel? Who do you think that was?
Let me guess. They like the Rothschilds or something?
Hitler.
Well, Hitler was half Jewish. Well, Ashkenazi. He was related to the Rothschilds. And because I talked to a Rothschild, believe it or not, online, and they said they hated Hitler because he was a deadbeat and didn't pay his debts to the family bank, and that's why they hated him, not because he was killing anybody. Called him a deadbeat. Basically, he borrowed money from the Rothschilds, and then when they asked for it back, he told them, to stick it up your butt sideways. And then he started his own currency. And every time a country starts its own currency, what happens to them?
Except for Bitcoin.
Well, it's not, I don't know. We're talking about fake money currency.
Right.
Well,
they've done everything they could to attack it. It's just that for some reason they didn't attack it when it was vulnerable. They didn't understand it.
Yeah, I figured they thought they could just get rid of it whenever they felt like it, and people could put a bunch of money in it, and then they destroy it, and those people's wealth would be destroyed. And they thought it was a great plan.
So
it didn't work out that way, but
slowly
they had to adopt it. They had to adopt it themselves because otherwise they're going to be left behind. But they sure did resist.
Well, and if it goes the way it's supposed to go, it'll clean up a lot of things. We just got to keep praying that the good money gets in.
Well, the people that run the old banks still have plenty of money. They invested in it. They have still plenty of land and wealth. And they just got to understand everyone's time is up at some point. In other words, the controlling powers of the world switch hands. They always do. And they'll just be put on the back burner, and they just have to understand that the time in the sun is over.
I know they understand that. I think they understand something.
They're relatively new. The Rothschilds and the banking system was an old system, but that family was relatively new. They implemented it in over a 200-year period, and in the big scheme of things, 200 years is nothing. As we know from looking at ancient history, that it's just dust in the wind. A footnote.
It's the last millisecond on the doomsday clock.
Correct.
Well, I hope this, and just to make sure, because we did play a video, go back and check to see if the audio is still working.
I did. When we played the video, it worked.
Okay. Just a recap so you can understand. So if I'm having some sort of seizure or something, what we've done is basically the thing that the internet is hearing, the monitoring is off. We can't hear it. But what I've done is, and I set all of the audio inputs to the same channel, which is 1, and it appears all the rest don't work, or don't work very well. 2 definitely doesn't work. And for you, I have browser 1 as which is one of the things that's
Mini-me.
What? There's 2 of you. There's 2 monitoring of your stream, and the first one that plays to the external is monitoring off, and the one that I hear is monitoring only, and output is muted. And so and again, we're all three of the channels audio inputs are on track 1. I hope this works, because I am tired of messing with it. I spend 4 or 5 hours working on the show, and then it doesn't work. It just
I understand. I started researching this yesterday and did a lot of research on it. And
yeah, I'm excited to talk
and our
about it. We
show
end up
was
spending
cut.
50
Our show
minutes
was cut in
blabbing
half.
about something else.
Yeah, we ended up cut our show in half, so we didn't get to cover what we needed to cover. And it's getting late now, so we have to
Yeah, I don't want to. I've been trying to get up by 7 o'clock, and trying to keep myself from. And
Well,
so
I
if
get
I
up.
go-
I get up about 7 o'clock your time. I get up 6 o'clock here, so it's. I'm still on East Coast time, even though I'm in the middle time zone now, by 3 feet. It was that way when I was in Tennessee. In Tennessee, I could drive 5 miles one way, and I was in the Eastern time zone. I drive 5 miles the other way as in Central. And when I went on appointments, I'd end up being an hour early. I like, why am I? What do you mean it's 10 o'clock? Oh, Central time
well, that's
zone.
better
Again.
than the other side.
Yeah, well, coming back, you're late. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I've been looking into, and it's been pretty interesting. It's hard to find really good. I've only watched videos about it and people that have talked about translations of it. I haven't found a direct translation that I could read, but I've been very interested in the Book of Enoch.
Well, there's quite a few good translations to the Book of Enoch. The Book of Giants is in pieces. We covered that before. And Jubilees is one of them too. They discovered that with the Dead Sea Scrolls, and they don't have complete texts on those, I don't think.
Well,
But
there's
I
three
think
volumes.
Enoch there is.
There's
Enoch,
3
they can
volumes
cross.
of the Book of Enoch, and
Yeah, and I think they can cross-reference them to get a good idea what it's supposed to say.
no, there's actually like 3 volumes, not different translations. There's actually 3 volumes of the Book of Enoch. And
How
what
big a
I
book is
find
it?
fascinating is well, you should look into it yourself. You should find a good translation and start listening to it. I don't want to ruin the surprise for you. It's pretty weird. It's considerably more weird than what we just talked about. I see why the churches took it out.
Why it would be left out of the canon? Because it's confusing, and they have to understand their
It's
audience.
not really it's not confusing. It takes the power away from the church. It paints a different picture than what they're trying to paint.
What are they trying to paint?
You should just look into it. I don't want to taint. I want you to have your own opinions about it, and not mine.
Okay.
Or what? And you might find a better translation than me and have a completely different take. So I don't want to. But I think that we should either do it this next show, or do you have a better idea?
No, that's fine. We can do that.
I'll think about it. I'll send you a text tomorrow. We actually did get 8 views, even with all of the show. 8 people came in and watched. It's tremendously disappointing that the audio keeps messing up. Like it doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Well, you can keep the show on there. What I would do is I find out when the sound comes back on and make a note in it so people can see that the audio is missing up until this minute, to skip to that, so people can watch it. And otherwise, they're not going to watch it.
Right.
So if you say in the 35th minute, the sound comes back on. Because I've watched videos like that, and people have told me when the video cut out and when it came back on, because it's a fairly common problem. Especially
do that
with
tomorrow.
OBS. I know it's what everyone uses. It's the standard. Yeah, but it's free.
Yes, it's free, and who really wants to be paying $50 a month to, you know,
make bad videos?
Yes, exactly. So, anyways, I guess we'll wrap it up here. I'll send you a text in the morning. I'll review the video, and then I'll think about what we want to do for Friday night show.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good.
I will talk to you soon, and everybody watching, if there is anyone, please like and subscribe, and if you could leave a comment, you could comment on how bad the audio is, and we'll try to fix it. And you guys have a good night. Thank you for stopping by.
Good night. I might import it into something, Mike, and add some dialogue over it, because I have editing programs, and then republish it on the site.
You're welcome to do that.
Okay.
And as a side note, in my quest to make music, I made an app that downloads the video, and it splits the video into an audio track, and then it'll break, if it's music, it'll break it out into instruments. So it'll do the vocals with no sound, and then it does each layer. It'll reconvert like all the drums into a layer, all the guitar into a layer. It's a pretty big file. It's like 3 gigabytes, but it works pretty good. And you can take the video, separate the video out, and just have the audio, and then break the audio out into pieces. And
yeah, I have some like parts of a song that I want to use for like a standard meme finishing, like they used to have that one and go, "Bap, bap," and then they'd have the put the big glasses on them and the blunt, and then play the rap music. Well,
Right.
I have some ideas for that, and I some music that would be excellent for that, and I'd like to separate that out and put it in
so
a standard short memes, because memes really. I found that my stuff that's
how can I
memey.
send it to you? I know. I know what I can do. Listen, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on the shared drive for our Abundance channel. It has a drive, and all you need to do
Oh, you
is,
got a Google Drive on it? I have Google
yeah,
Drive.
and so I'll just stick it in there, and you can just take it out of there.
Okay.
It's the same login as the YouTube channel.
All right.
Okay.
I have that.
I'll do that
It's
tonight.
all. I have 2 separate accounts where I can log into yours and mine, and I can play them both at the same time. So I have that set up that way. So
okay.
it's no problem.
Well, I'm just saying, for the Google Drive, you'll be able to pull because like I said, it's like 3 gigabytes. But
I'll just share it with myself. I'll just share it from your, our video site, and I'll just share the Google Drive with my other Google Drive. So I'll have no problems.
Okay. You do whatever you got to do. But I will talk to you tomorrow.